Memches. Amid Bay is 4 lines from the bottom. That's 48B. Amarav Yuda. Amarav. Rav Yuda says in the name of Rav, Zudiv Reb Shimon. This is the words of Reb Shimon. Okay. Talking about if there's 3 people and each one has his 4 amos and they want to share the middle area. Reb Shimon compared this to 3 courtyards that each one, the outer 2 made an Eruv with the middle one, but they didn't make an Eruv with each other. So Reb Shimon held that they can each use the middle area. Everyone can use the middle area. Can the middle one also use the outer areas? That we'll see is under discussion. But everyone can use the middle area. The 2 outer ones, they just can't use each other. The Chacham say that the middle area could be used by both outer areas. But he can't use the outer areas. The middle one can't use those outer areas. He can only use the center area. I should have brought this up before. Let me see if I can do that now. Just give me a second. Let's see if I can get the chart.
Rabbi, is that the chart I have in the background? Is it the same? Or?
Yeah. Let me get this one here.
Okay.
Let me get the Pirush Chai. Lost it. Yeah, I keep losing it. This is stuff. Okay. Yeah. For right now, Dr. Stein's picture is the best. Let's leave it with that. Okay. If you see that picture, let's leave it with that. So what we're learning now is that Rishus Achas, the center, is Mishamshus L'Shtei Rishuyas. Could be used by the 2 outer ones. However, the outer ones, the Shtei Rishuyas, cannot be used by the middle one. Each one of them is pulling him to the other side. When he tries to use one side, 1 second he made an Eruv with the other side. So he can't go to the right because the Eruv is to the left. He can't go to the left because the Eruv is to the right. We're talking about Eruvei Chatzeres. That's the opinion of the Chachamim. Now, this was a statement of Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav, which means the chiddush here is that, first of all, according to Reb Shimon, you could go the middle person can go anywhere, can go to the outside, and the outside can go to the inside. The two outsides can go to the inside, and the middle one can go to either outside. According to the Chachamim, the outer ones can go to the inside. It's just the middle one that can't go to the outside. Ki Amrisa Kamei de Shmuel. Now Rav Yehuda is a student of Shmuel as well. After Rav passed away, so he went to Shmuel, and he learned by Shmuel. So he says, I said over Rav's statement in front of Shmuel, and Shmuel responded to me, Afzu Divrei Reb Shimon. There's several interpretations here. This is also the words of Reb Shimon. In other words, Reb Shimon holds really what the Chachamim said according to Rav, that you're only allowed to use the middle. The middle one can't go to the outsides. That's one of the interpretations here. Notice he takes it a step up, a step stringent. He says that the machlekas here is regarding two things between the machlekas between Rav and Shmuel. Is one in the interpretation of Reb Shimon and also in the interpretation of the Chachamim. According to Shmuel, Reb Shimon doesn't allow the middle one to go to the outside. He gets pulled to either side. And according to the Chachamim, according to Shmuel, the outer ones can't go to the middle one either. So they didn't make an Eruv together. They mess each other up. Okay, this is one of the interpretations. So Tani Kavasei de Rav Yehuda Ali b'de Shmuel. The Gemara is going to bring a brisa in support of Shmuel, the stricter opinion. Amar Rab Shimon Lamad Davar Daima. What is this similar to? Shimon says in the Mishnah. This is a brisa. What is it similar to when you have these three people that they want to use the middle area? That if you have courtyards, not just people that are outside their tchum, but if you have courtyards, and the courtyards are open one to another through the inside, like on Dr. Stein's background. It's also open to Rishus Harabim. If the two outer ones made an Eruv with the middle one, each one can bring from their house to the middle and eat it. Each one can bring back the leftovers to their area. Didn't say exactly what the middle person is allowed to do. That would be a major statement. Is the middle one allowed to go to the outside? Didn't say that yet. Okay, at least I know from the Chachamim that this brisa supports Shmuel. Because according to Rav, the Chachamim hold that they're allowed to go to the center. It was only, according to Rav, only the middle one can't go to the outside, according to the Chachamim. So we have a brisa that supports Shmuel. Vaz the Shmuel atamei, and Shmuel also follows his logic. Damar Shmuel, chotzer shebein shnei muvayis irvan shneim asurim shneim. You have a courtyard that's between two mavos. If they made an Eruv with both mavos, that means, but not the mavos with each other. That means that the mavos, these are like the two outer ones, can't go to each other. In other words, there is access from the center to go to either side, but that affects the outer ones from going to each other. Well, they can't go to each other anyway, but there's no Eruv between each other. If you didn't make an Eruv, then then it's a problem, because there's no Eruv. So this one chutzner messes up both courtyards.
Excuse me, Rabbi Smith.
Yeah.
How does one make an Erev Chatzeros if there's no owner to make it with?
No, there is a
With
there is an
respect to
owner.
the alley, with respect to the Mavoy.
No, there is an owner to this chutzner. The problem is on both sides. Let me see
No,
if
I'm
now
talking about the alleyway on either side.
Oh, I'm sorry. When we say an alleyway, we mean that there's courtyards surrounding that alley. Yeah, let me pull up a picture. Do this.
So it's between two courtyards. There happens to be an alleyway in the middle.
Let me show you. Yeah. There's the chutzner that's between the two mavois. Now, these chatzeros here are going to be affected because of this courtyard here. This courtyard is the one that's messing up everything else. In other words, there's an Erev Chatzeros here, and they would like to be able to use the Mavi as well, but there's a courtyard here. Now, if this courtyard made an Erev with them, then good. Then they could, it would be a Shitufei Muvais. Let's see again. Az the Shmuel to me. Damer Shmuel Chatzer shebein shnei Muvais. Irva im Shneim. If he makes an Erev with both of them, Asurim Shneim. Notice it itself can't. This is what we're saying. He himself, this middle chutzner, can't go to either one. However, they can go to him. They can come in to his courtyard. I guess that's what it means. What happens? La Yervim Shneim. If he doesn't make an Erev, then Iseres al Shneim. Then he messes both of them up. Okay, that we understand. Haisa ba'echad regila, ba'echad einu regila. If one of them was more frequent to use, in other words, what's his doorway? His doorway or his exit. How does he get out? Which mavi does he get out from? So the one that he has a doorway with, that's the one that he's going to mess up because he never made an Erev with them, and that's his exit. So he's ruining their hishtamshus because he has access to that area and he never made an Erev there. Okay, I guess what we're seeing from this is that he still has no rights to go to the outer ones. This is Shmuel's logic that according to Reb Shimon, the middle one is not able to go to the outer ones, but the outer ones are able to go to, even according to Reb Shimon, that's Mekel, but the outer ones can go to the middle one. Amar Rabba Bar Rav Huna. Rabba Bar Rav Huna says, Irva im she'ena regila bay. If they made an Erev with the one that he's not so common with, then hutta regila latzmai. That Erev makes him considered like he belongs to that other side, which means that he's not using the side that he normally uses. So therefore, the side that he normally uses is on its own. They don't need him. If they don't need him, then they can lock him out and they can still use that area because they have their own Erev there. V'amar Rabba Bar Rav Huna Amar Shmuel, im irva regila la'atzmai. If one side made its own Erev, regila by light Erev, and the one that he wasn't ragil, the one that he wasn't accustomed to using, he didn't make an Erev. V'hi atzma la'yerva. And he himself didn't make an Erev with either side. So this is interesting. We've done this before in things in Mesachtas Nida. We did this. We could go into a kaifan al this time. What's going on here is that one side has no problem. One side made an Erev. See, in this area right here. Let's say this side made an Eruv and they're all set. This fellow didn't join in with them. This side did not make an Eruv. And he didn't join in with them either. So which way does he go? If he goes to this side, he messes them up. If he goes to this side, if he's considered part of this courtyard, he messes up this courtyard. If he's considered part of this courtyard, this alleyway, then he doesn't mess them up. They're messed up anyway. They never made an Eruv. So we say, Kaifan al midas daim. We consider him part of this. In other words, we force him to be part of the one that he doesn't ruin. It says, what does it mean, midas daim? I think it's like shali shali v'shalach shalach. That's what the Mishnah says, midas daim. It says, you belong to, you keep your own and I'll keep my own. In other words, I don't belong to you. That's what he's telling the side that made their own Eruv. That's why he doesn't mess them up. Okay. That was our discussion regarding the Machlekes, Rav and Shmuel, regarding the Machlekes of Reb Shimon and the Chachamim. If you have 3 courtyards, what happens to the middle guy according to Reb Shimon? And what happens to the outer guys according to the Chachamim? According to Rav, the middle guy is allowed to go to the outer ones, according to Reb Shimon. And according to the Chachamim, the outer ones can come to the middle one. And according to Shmuel, according to Reb Shimon, the outer ones can come to the middle one. He can't go to the outer ones. And according to the Chacham, no one can do anything. That was Shmuel's opinion. And we basically brought supports for Shmuel, and we said Shmuel follows his logic that follows the same status that would be in a Mavoi as well, where according to Reb Shimon, he can't go to the outer ones. Okay, now we have another statement. Amar Rav Yudah Shmuel hamakbid al Eruv ein Eruv Eruv. Someone that's makbid means he doesn't want anyone to eat his food. He contributed food, but he doesn't let anyone eat it. So it says that doesn't work. Mashmai, what is this thing called? Eruv Shmai. It's called an Eruv. So if that's the case, and he doesn't let anyone, Eruv means joining together. He doesn't let anyone eat it, so it doesn't work. Rab Chanina Amar Eruv Eruv. Chanina said it's still an Eruv. El Shenikram Anshe Vardina. But he's called Anshe Vardina. Anshe Vardina is probably like, not like Indian giver, but this is a little different. It's like a stingy person. He doesn't, he gives, but he doesn't let anyone use it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly where Vardina is. But anyway, that's what it means. It means that they're stingy. Rav Yudah Shmuel, another statement from Rav Yudah, the name of Shmuel. If someone doesn't put his Eruv into the same basket as everyone else, or they divide the Eruv into 2 different things, it's not a good Eruv. Come on, who does that go like? We say Beishamai. It goes like Beishamai. The Tanya, we had a Brisa Chamisha Shagava Eruvan. 5 people collected the Eruv, and Asnu b'shnei kelim, but they put it into 2 different utensils. Beishamai remains the Eruv, Beisil remains the Eruv. Beisil says that it's a good Eruv. So what are you telling me, that it doesn't work? If you divide the Eruv, Beisil holds it works. It sounds like you're following Beishamai. The Gemara says, Afilu tema Beisilal. Could even be according to Beisilal that it doesn't work. Beisil says it does work. Ad kan lekam Beisil hasamel demalyan lamanav aiser. When did Beisil say that it works? That's because you filled up one vessel and it overflowed. You had too much. You put it into another one. Basil says you don't need a large container that can contain the whole thing. If one got filled, so you put the extra into a next container. Basil never said that you can mamish divide it in half, even though there's room for it in one utensil. The Gemara says, "V'tarti lamali." Why does Shmuel have to say both of these statements? One statement was that if someone's makbid on his Eruv, and the other statement is if you divide the Eruv. Both of them are lacking the concept of Eruv. Eruv means to mix. So both of them have the same logic. So why does he have to say both of them? He should just say that it needs to be an Eruv. It needs to be mixed. So it says tzricha. It's necessary to say both of these statements. Diashmin and Hasam. If it would say over there, just one of them, Mishum de Kapid, that means if we just say that it doesn't work when he doesn't want anyone to eat the food that he contributed, so then we would understand that. It's because he was kapid. He didn't really give. But over here, it's just divided. He doesn't mind if you eat it, but it's still good. V'yashmin and hachin, if we would say over here that you divided it, so that it's not good because it's in two separate kalim. Mishum de palge miflagas, because you divided it up. Aval hasam, but over there when you didn't divide it up, you put it into the same vessel. It's just your makbid on it. Emalai, I would say that maybe over there it's still good, so therefore it's tzricha, it's necessary. Amalei Rab Abba le Rav Yehuda bebeima tzarta debei Rav Zakai. I'm not sure why it's necessary to give the location. Rab Abba says to Rabbi Yehuda in the olive press, I guess, of the house of Rav Zakai. Rav Zakai is olive press. He says over there, Miyam Shmuel achelik asiruva yemei erev. Did Shmuel really say that if you put it into separate utensils, it doesn't work? Talking about Eiruvei Chatzeros here, everyone's joining together to make one courtyard. Shmuel says, I have another statement from Shmuel. The Eruv, the way you make an Eruv is that all the houses collect food and they all put it into one house. The house that they put the Eruv in doesn't have to put bread into that basket. That's the location where everyone else's bread is. Now, the understanding of Rababa is that why doesn't this house need to give bread? Because they have bread in their bread box. So there's already bread there. It's everyone else that didn't have bread in this house they have to give. Now, one sec. According to Shmuel, that says that if the Eruv is divided into two utensils, it doesn't work. So the house that the Eruv is in never put bread into this utensil. So why does it work? That's his kasha. Does the Shmuel really say that a divided Eruv doesn't work? What about the house that the Eruv is in over their own bread is not put into this basket? My timer. What's the reason why it works by that house? Lav misham damar kiven the manach besala command the manach achadami. Must be, since they definitely have bread. It's just in their own bread basket. It's in their own container. So it's good enough. So hachanam kiven the manach besala command the manach achadami. So also, if you divide a basket and if you divide the Eruv into two, it should work. Amarlei Rav Yehuda says to Rababa, Hasamaf b'she'ein pas. Over there, it works by that house, not because there's bread in another basket. Even if there is no bread, even if the house is empty from bread, the only food that they have there is from the Eruv. My time, why does it work? The kulu hacha dairi. Because everyone lives here. The people that live there, they don't need to give bread. The other people that don't live there, they gave bread. It's as if they lived there. So the one that lives there doesn't need to give anything. It's not because there's bread in another basket. It's not a divided Eruv actually doesn't work. Over here, they don't need to contribute at all. Amar Shmuel says Eruv mishum kinyan. The way an Eruv works is that it's a type of kinyan. It's like they're acquiring rights to this house by putting their food there. If you're going to say it's a kinyan, why don't they make a kinyan with money? Why do you have to give food? It's just a regular kinyan. It's the kinyan. Everyone should contribute something. You buy the rights, give a few amas, 32 prutas. Give a little bit of money and that'll be good. People don't have money on Friday. They're all out of money. They didn't institute an Eruv with something that people wouldn't have access to. Everyone spent all their money, I guess, in the liquor store, buying things for Shabbos. So they use food, they use bread. Heicha de Yarev Miolikni. Okay, I understand. You didn't institute that an Eruv should be with money because it's not common for people to have change, to have money on Erev Shabbos. But let's say someone did make an Eruv with money, it should work. It says, Gzer Shem Yemru Ma Iker, V'zim D'Leichechma V'lesa L'Ruve B'pas. D'asi Eruv Le'kalkulei. So we know, we don't want it to work at all. People may think that that's really the main Eruv, if they allow it to work. And then if they don't have bread, they won't make an Eruv. And then the whole concept of Eruv will be forgotten. I think you have to use money, and the bread is just secondary, and they'll forget about the concept of Eruv. And really, the concept of Eruv is to contribute bread. Okay, that was a statement from Shmuel that the Eruv really works as a kinyan. Rabba Amar Eruv Mishum Dira. Rabba says it's not a kinyan, it's because you live there. My Binaya, what's the difference between Rabba and Shmuel's explanation for an Eruv? It could be Nayo, the difference is Keli, Pachas Mishava Pruta, Bekatan. We have three differences. The difference is like this. A Keli, I can make a kinyan with a Keli. It could be like, you use a gartel to make a kinyan. Just lift it up. It doesn't have to be a Shava Pruta. Any Keli works. So that would work for the kinyan. However, for food, it would need to be a Shava Pruta. It would need to be a significant amount of food. So if I hold that it's because of a kinyan, then I can use a Keli. That's not a Shava Pruta. Let's go the other way. Let's say I have food that's not a Shava Pruta, but it's food for... Yeah.
Well, did you say you can make a kinyan non-shava pruta?
Yeah.
So, but Haisha Niknes, and that has to be a shava pruta.
Yeah, that's if you use money. A woman you can't buy with a cloth.
Oh, so when it comes to money, the kinyan has to be at least shava pruta.
Yeah,
Okay.
money would have to be a Shava Pruta.
Gotcha.
But when you make other deals, so you can make something that's called a kinyan sudar, where they lift up a handkerchief.
Like by matzah.
Other agreements.
Chumash.
That doesn't need to be a Shava Pruta.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
The idea that it has to be something that's available Arve Shabbat.
Yeah.
So they would Friday they would make the Eruv. Like that they would have, if they didn't have money available.
It could be if they ate it. If they ate it up. If they ate it during the week. Yeah, I don't know if they did it like we do it today, that we just put a box of matzah for a year. It could be they actually contributed food and then they would eat it. Shouldn't go to waste. I don't know.
Got it.
Sounds scary though, because they could forget.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing is Pachas Mishava Pruta, is that actually food, if you make the Eruv, if the Eruv is a dira, then I could use food, if it's a place of living, I could use food that's enough for 2 meals, even if that food isn't a Shava Pruta. But if I needed to make a kinyan with food, then that food would need to be a Shava Pruta. And then the third thing is katan. We're looking for differences between kinyan versus dira. If it's a kinyan, then if you send a child to make the Eruv, a child can't make a kinyan. But if it's because of dira, he doesn't need to do anything. He just needs to put food there, and then your intention is on that food. That's considered like your location, so you can use a child. Amalei Abaya l'Rabba. Abaya says to Rabba, L'didach kasha l'shmuel kasha. I have a question on both of you. Abaya is a student of Rabba, and Shmuel is earlier. It says, Hatanya, it's taught in a brisa. Chamisha shegava Eiruvin. 5 people collected Erev. K'shemalichnas Eiruvin l'makam acher, echad melech lekulan. Let's say they're joining their Erev together with one more courtyard. They collected in one courtyard. There's 5 houses. They want to use the courtyard, so everyone collects and they put the Erev in one house. Then they decide that the neighboring courtyard is also going to be joined in with them, and they're going to share both of them. And the other courtyard has a house as well. So they take the Erev, or one of them takes the Erev from all 5 people, and he goes puts it in the next courtyard. That way they're all joined together in the house in the next courtyard. Abaya's question is, one second. If it's Mishum Dira, if it's Mishum Kinyan, both of them, there's only one individual that put the food there, that went there with the food. And there's only one individual that made the kinyan. It says Huniya the kakani v'sulai, Huniya the kadaya v'sulai. He's the one that put the food there, and he's the one that made the kinyan, and not anyone else. So why does the whole community here join in just because this one fellow brought the Erev over to that place? So Amalei Leila Di Kash Shmuel Kash. He says it's not a question on me or on Shmuel. Shlichus to Kula Kavid. He's a messenger. He's just a messenger. He didn't do it. He didn't do the whole thing. He's a messenger from all the people. Everyone is now living in that location, and everyone made the kinyan there. Amar Rabba, Amar Rav Chama Bar Guria, Amar Rav Halach Kurot.
Didn't Abaye know that there's a concept called shlichus?
That's a good question.
That was my question also.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer. I don't know. That's a good question. Now, Rabba says in the name of Rav Chama Bar Guria, in the name of Rav, maybe it's Rav and Bar Huna in the name of Rav Chama Bar Guria, in the name of Rav, that Allah is like Reb Shimon. What does it mean, Allah is like Reb Shimon? That if there's 3 courtyards, and each one makes an Erev with the center one, but the outer 2 don't make an Erev, so we'll follow Reb Shimon's view, according to Rav, I guess, because it's Rav saying this. We'll follow Reb Shimon's view, according to Rav, that the middle one can eat in the outer ones, and the outer ones can eat with the center. It's only the outer 2 that can't, it's the most lenient opinion that there is. It's only the outer 2 that are also with each other, but the middle one can go to both sides, and that both sides can go to the center. And that's what it says, is the halacha. Okay, now we have a new Mishnah. Mishba B'derech. Someone that's traveling. And it's getting dark. He's going to be stuck somewhere. But Yamakir Ilan Ageder, he knows that there's a tree, a large tree, between him and his house. And he's 2,000 amas away from the tree. And the tree is 2,000 amas away from the house. So what he does is, he says, I know that there's a tree there. My location for Shabbos is at that tree. And he's able to reach that tree because it's within 2,000 amas. So, and he knows exactly where it is. So he says, V'amar shvisasi tachtav. He says, my dwelling place, he says, my dwelling place is under that tree. Leia Miklam. He didn't say anything. You're going to see in a moment that it's because the tree is too large, and he didn't say exactly where under the tree. We'll see how this works. Shvisasi bi'ikrai said, my shvis is at the base of the tree. Must be a large tree. There's several possibilities of where under the tree his location could be. There's several 4 amas. There's several segments of 4 amas that it could be. So it says Shvisasi Be'ikri. I'm actually at the very roots of the tree, at the trunk. That's what he means, at the trunk. Mahalach makam raglav adikra al payamama mikra vad basi al payamama. Nimtza mahalach mishachashech arba salaf mama. He's able to walk to the tree, 2,000 amas, walk from the tree to his house 2,000 amas, and all is fine, because he gave a specific location of where his resting place for Shabbos is going to be.
Did he walk to the tree prior to Shabbos
No.
to establish? I thought we learned previously that you couldn't just pick a random spot. You had to go there.
Right. Either you have
Didn't
to
we
go
learn
there or you have to put food there. Here, there's a chiddush.
Right.
Here, there's a chiddush that
Chiddush,
because he,
or is it just the opposite?
or it shouldn't work.
I said, where? To my focus.
No, there's a problem here. Yeah, I'm not sure what's the logic here, why this works. It sort of goes against what we learned before. Usually we had to go to a location or send the shliach to put food. This person is on the road and somehow he's able to say that he wants his location to be distant from. I think if he could see it, I think we mentioned that before. If he could see the location, he can say, that's where I want to. Now we have a bigger chiddush. He knows about it. And that's enough. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why in this instance it works just to know about something. Why didn't he do that from his house? Why do you have to send someone out to put food? He could have just said, I want it to be in that place. Yeah, I'm not sure. If he doesn't know any tree, or he doesn't know that he's allowed to do this, and he says that I want my exact location to be in my place. So, okay, that's very good. He has the radius all the way around of 2,000 amas, which means a circle. He has a circle. Divrei Rabbi Chanina ben Antignas. That's Rabbi Chanina ben Antignas' opinion. Chachamim Maimrim Murubais. He has more than just the radius. He has a square. So he has the radius to one side. When you get to that side, then you have 2,000 amas up and down. Well, 2,000 amas. You have 2,000, which turns him into a square. So in each direction he has the radius, and then when he gets to that 2,000 amas, he can walk 2,000 amas back and forth, which will turn his area into a square, and he has a full square. It's a chiddush. I think that's the halacha actually.
Rabbi, if he walks to the corner, it's beyond 2,000 amas from
Right.
where he's standing.
Right, and he still has that. He has more than. He has more
No
than.
chiddush that you can go more than 2,000 now.
Yeah, because of the square.
I don't think they learned the previous Gemara these days.
Are you calling from underneath a tunnel?
Why, is that going?
He's at the Eruv. He's at the tree. Ketavla Merabask, they see a niskal is obvious that he should gain the corners. Okay, that's what we're saying, that he's gaining corners. V'zui she'amru, this is what we said, Ani Marif Baraglov, that a person can go by just walking. He doesn't have to actually have bread there. Amar Meir, Anoin Lanu Ela Ani. That's only a poor person. This fellow is not a poor person. He's supposed to use bread. Rabbi Yehuda says no. We had this before. We had this quoted. Rabbi Yehuda says an ani and an asher, both of them. You don't need bread. What was the point of the bread? Was if the usher doesn't want to go there, he can send an ani he can send a shliach to put the bread for him, and he doesn't actually need to go there. But everyone holds, or everyone is able to use their feet to make an Eruv. Okay. You can have machlekes here coming up between Rav and Shmuel. What this means, if a person doesn't designate exactly where under the tree he wants his Eruv to be. It's slightly complex, this Gemara. Let me see if I can show you some pictures right here. Okay, he sees the tree over there. Here you see the corners, that you gain the corners. They say they compare it to a square. Let me go a drop further. And let's see. So they're describing here that the tree is 30 amas. It's 2,000 amas for him to get to that edge of the tree. And it's 2,000 amas from the center of the tree to his house. That's how he's describing it. So there is an overlap here, that area, that if his Eruv is over here, on this side of the tree, he should be able to get to his house. If his Eruv is over here, there's a problem. That's how they're describing it right here. There's other interpretations how this is working. Okay, that's the same thing. Okay. My Layamar Klum. What does it mean he didn't say anything? Amarav Layamar Klum Kolikar. When it says that if he didn't designate where under the tree he wants his Eruv to be, what we're saying now is he didn't say anything at all, and he really has no location. He doesn't have his location because he wants his shvisa to be under the tree. He doesn't have under the tree because it didn't work, because he didn't say where exactly it's supposed to be. He can't even go to the tree. He's mamish stuck. Mamish stuck in his spot. 4 amas, like someone that doesn't have any tchum. Shmuel Amar Aleim Klum Lebese. Shmuel says what the Mishnah means is that he can't get to his house. But he's able to go to the tree. Why? Because he has his location. When he gets to the tree, then that's where he gets stuck. Because I don't know where under the tree. Maybe it's this part of the tree. Maybe it's that part of the tree. So he can't go to his house. Chamer Gamal was he gets pulled to both sides. That's what it means. Under the tree, he can't go further. If he wants to measure that his shvisa was from the north, we tell him no, maybe your shvisa was really on the south. So he can't go to the house which was on the north side. Like we saw in that picture, that if his shvisa is on the wrong side of the tree, he doesn't make it. If he wants to measure from that side, we tell him no, it's on the other side. And whichever side he thinks that his shvisa is going to be, we tell him that no, maybe it was on the other side of the tree. And the tree is a large tree, so he doesn't get. He's depending on where he put his Eruv, he'll be able to get to his house. And we say that it was undetermined, so he can't get to his house. Amar Rabba, my time at the Rav. Rabba says, what's the reason for Rav? Because he didn't give a designated spot. My time at the Rav. Some say that what's the reason for Rav? A different pshat over here. The concern here is why does he have nothing? Why does he have nothing? See, according to Shmuel, he was kind of shvisa under the tree. We just don't know where it is. Fine. So he loses his ability to get to his house because it could be it's on the wrong side of the tree. He doesn't have, his house is more than 2,000 amas away. But according to Rav, why doesn't he have any shvisa? According to Rav, there's nothing. So either because the first version is Limisayim Asre, he didn't give a designated spot. Asre is a location. In any location. The second interpretation, because look, Rav says, I can't make both of these spots is my shvisa, which means I can't say that the north side of the tree is my location and then go and say, and now my south side of the tree is my location. I can't do that. Why? Because if you can't do it one after the other, so then when you try to make the whole thing in one go, nothing works. Which is really the same thing. You didn't give a designated location. But we're saying that we're saying in a complicated way. We're saying if you can't give two locations, one after the other, then you also can't give, then nothing works, even one of them, one of the two doesn't work simultaneously. That's how he says it. My benai, what's the difference between these two interpretations? He says, no, I want 4 amas out of the 8 amas. Let's say the whole tree is 8 amas. He says, I want 4 of them. That's my location, only 4 amas. According to the opinion that says, well, you didn't give a designated spot. Well, you didn't give a designated spot. He said 4 amas. He's not trying to make 2 spots. The Gemara is understanding this like that kol sheina b'zeh is anything that you can't do one after the other. It's as if he was trying to say that the whole tree, this location under the tree and this location under the tree, should be my shvisa. But here he's clearly not doing that. He only wants 1 spot. So therefore, there's no problem. What was the problem? You're trying to take more than you're allowed. He's not trying to take more than that. He only wants 4 amas. Gufa. We learned before. Amar Rabba. Rabba says, "Kol davar she'eino b'zeh chazeh b'filu b'asachas einai." Anything that you can't do one after the other doesn't work simultaneously either. Well, this is a concept, but it's going to become clearer with the examples that we're going to give. Well, a few examples here. The first one is Esvei Abaya l'Rabba. Abaya asks Rabba a question: is that really true? Kol she'eino b'zeh chazeh b'filu b'asachas einai. If you can't do one after the other, then you can't do both of them simultaneously. Hamar b'maisers. If someone takes meiser but he gives too much, instead of taking 1 out of 10, he takes 1 out of 5, 1 out of 8. So Pereisa Mesukanim, well, the meiser he took, 1 out of 5 is also 1 out of 10. It's 2 out of 10. So he took his meiser. So the remaining fruits he's allowed to eat because the meiser was done. However, meisereisa mikol kalim, but the meiser has certain status. When you take meiser, that produce is exempt because that's the meiser for other things. Now, you never took meiser off the meiser. You don't have to. The meiser is the meiser. But here, you didn't take meiser off the meiser because half the meiser wasn't meiser. So you exempted the fruits, but part of the meiser is mixed with tevel. Okay. The Gemara says, Amai. Why do we say that the fruits work? That the fruits are meiser was taken? If I would have tried to take meiser, 1 out of 5. I'd say twice, 1 out of 10. I did 1 out of 5. Let's say I take 1 out of 10, and then I take another 1 out of 10. That wouldn't work. The second one would be absolutely nothing. So why do you say it works simultaneous? Why do you say it works when you do it all in this first shot? If it doesn't work one after another, Rabba gave us a rule that if it doesn't work one after another, it doesn't work simultaneous either. It shouldn't work. The Gemara says, Shani Meiser Disa Lachatzoyin. Meiser is different because I view each grain as if half of it is Meiser and half of it is Tevel. I can do that. So therefore, the Yamar Tikdesh Palga, if I want to sanctify half of it, sanctify is a term that could be used for hekdesh or it could be used for meiser. Palga the chitza kedesha. So half of each grain became sanctified. Okay. So therefore, what we're holding now is we're saying that meiser is different than shvisa. Why is meiser different than shvisa? Each one of the grains of meiser, it's as if half of it became meiser and half not. Now, when it comes to shvisa, I can't say that every amma or every location under this is half of each spot is my shvisa. I need a designated single spot. That I can't get if I'm going to do every single spot. In order for it to be simultaneous, then I have to be able to divide the entire thing into half. Every single individual item I have to be able to divide into half, and that I can do by Meiser. But I can't do every single spot under the tree divided into half. And that's where we're saying that it doesn't work simultaneous. I guess we'll have to stop over here. We're up to